Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Triple Option Talk. Now, I know that I wasn't there for the last episode, at least for the start of it, as I got caught up in some schoolwork. But, we are now around the area of Thanksgiving break. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So, we got us all three here together. I'm alongside Andrew and Jake, as always. And like every week of college football has been, what a crazy weekend it was. There was a couple of upsets that we're going to get into, a lot of really close matchups. We got to see Brian Kelly cry on the sidelines, and everybody loves to see that. A lot of crazy things happened this past Saturday that has shaken up the most recent college football playoff rankings, which are leaving a lot of college football fans dissatisfied, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well. But to get the show rolling, Jake, I'm actually going to point it to you, and you're going to talk about probably the biggest upset that happened this past Saturday.
Yeah, not even the fact that this was the biggest upset, but for Kansas, this was the second upset in a row. So Kansas, whoever you're playing next, they need to be worried, all right? They need to be frightened. They need to be feared because they took down a number 6, honestly. I think a lot of people are really happy this happened because it was like the undefeated UCF thing where they're like, we deserve to be in the national championship. We were undefeated. It's like, no, you don't. You're here because you have a cupcake soft schedule. Exactly. I hate it for you. And look, and before I, start praising Kansas for how good they played as a team and how they knocked off a number 6, can we talk about those were some of the ugliest helmets I've ever seen in my life. Have y'all not seen these?
Are you talking about Kansas helmets?
Yes.
Is it the one with the big Jayhawk on the side?
Yes.
Oh,
that thing looks like a cartoon character. It looks like Toucan Sam.
You don't like those?
No. Are you kidding me? No.
Those are so. I'm not even. I get it. Listen, I get it. Looks like some random kid drew on a piece of paper, and they just they told a little kid to do his best Jayhawk, and whatever that was, they slapped it on a helmet. But for me, it reminds me of what old college football logos used to look like, and I think old college football logos need to come back. That's what it reminds me of, which is why I think I like it so much. I think it's sick. I personally look.
I mean, seriously, what the heck is that?
Those are dope. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm all for throwbacks in uniforms because I think some of them are great, but I think some of them, we don't need to remember. They need to be forgotten.
Okay.
Just leave those things, don't pull those things back out again. Okay, fine. Even if I'm alone in this, whatever.
You are alone.
Hey, it helped them get the upset win over BYU. So
apparently.
Maybe they can wear more often.
That's a good point, Chase. Kansas, wear these for the rest of the season.
Maybe that's a missing piece.
Until you lose again, wear these things for the rest of the season. It was kind of like how baseball players used to do that. We didn't wash our pants until we lost.
Right. Yeah. Whoever does it is going to have an easy week because he ain't touching this thing to lose again.
When I was in high school, that was our thing. We didn't wash our pants until we lost, and we won 5 games in a row. You can only imagine,
those are some musty pants.
Musty.
I couldn't imagine going a 15-game win streak and then riding the bus back home.
It's bro, we need to lose just for our sake.
If you win games, you win games. So,
hey. If you win dubs, you win dubs. But speaking of dubs, Kansas picking up a big one against a number 6 undefeated BYU. Great game, kind of all the way around. Jalen Daniels threw for 169 yards, ran for 2 touchdowns to upset BYU 17-13. This is one of those teams, and this is just kind of how the season's going to end up shaking up, where the teams that are at the top, but they shouldn't be at the top because they have a really cupcake weak schedule, it's going to kind of start getting weeded out. So. Mm-hmm. I think this is just an instance of something that was bound to happen. But this not only keeps the hope alive for Kansas to possibly qualify for a bowl game, but more importantly, this has now opened the door for Colorado. So Colorado, if you're listening, as long as you win out, you have an opportunity to be in the college football playoffs with a bye. I'm going to say that again, with a bye.
Who would have thought?
After last year, that is a ridiculous concept. That could be reality. It's crazy.
I would say even at the start of this year when they got embarrassed against Nebraska week 3, a lot of people thought it was going to be another down year for Colorado, but they haven't lost since, and they're playing some really good ball too.
Yeah, so here's something I'm kind of curious about. This doesn't actually hold any water of like being of any importance. I just think it's going to be funny. So like imagine Colorado's current rank, which is like, what are they ranked right now? Like
I think they're 17.
17? Okay, so let's say that they end up winning out and they move up to, I don't know, 13. Let's just say that's their ceiling is where they can go to the end of the season. 13th in the nation, and they're going to win their division, and then they're going to jump to either number 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, because of
that's how this new playoff format works.
I know it's going to be so weird to see that Colorado, and then like you can only imagine that like Deion's going to be like, "See, we're a top 4 team in the country." It's like, no, dude, you got to buy. That is not the same thing.
I will
absolutely
say,
not the same thing.
I will say to me that whole the best 4 conference winners get the top 4 seeds to get the first round bye. To me, that's a flaw in the college football playoff. I don't necessarily like it because I think the 4 byes should go to the 4 best teams, not necessarily the 4 best conference winners. But Chase, I do want to correct you. Colorado has not won out since the Nebraska game. They lost to Kansas State on a last-second touchdown. They had 2 losses.
Oh, they did. I forgot about that game. They had 2 losses.
And I want to point out that as of today, I'm talking about around 12 o'clock today, Colorado got the number 2 player, high school player in the nation, 5-star quarterback Julian Newman, who plays for Carrollton, which is
right down the road from all of us.
Right down the road from all of us.
This hand shook his hand. I shook this man's hand at a random Chick-fil-A party. It's a random story, but now he's going to Colorado.
It is true, but he did flip his commitment from USC to Colorado, which could influence Deion Sanders to say, because a lot of people were speculating that he might leave to go to the Cowboys and get the bag.
That would be a mistake.
Dude, thank you.
Yes, he would drown. He would drown in Cowgirl land because you talk about a dumpster fire. Oh my gosh, it does not get worse than the Cowboys. But we're not here to talk NFL. Everyone already knows that, though.
You know what? While we're on the topic, let's talk about this for a second.
Sure.
Just a quick minute.
All right,
what's this kid's name? Jalen? Is it Jalen?
Julian Newman. Julian.
That's right, not Jalen. Julian. Juju. Old Juju. Let's talk about Juju for a second. Do you think it was a smart idea for him to flip his commitment from USC to Colorado?
Well, the thing is, I don't know. I kind of speculate that Lincoln Riley kind of, I don't know. I almost want to say he kills his quarterbacks. Because you remember what happened during his time at Oklahoma? Remember when Spencer Rattler, he had Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams. That was the quarterback room. Spencer Rattler turned out to not be the quarterback everybody thought he'd be. And then Caleb Williams took over and looked absolutely incredible. And then Caleb Williams got, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Actually, I take back everything I said. That was disrespectful.
I was going to say, that was kind of my thing. It was like, we just see what just got done with Caleb Williams and how much of a success that kid ended up being. And like, he was in my eyes, the perfect spot. Like, you were now in the presence of a quarterback farmer,
right,
that could have enhanced all of your skills and, could be an NFL prospect one day. But then I think in just the sense is I think the hype was taken over the ability, if that makes sense. It's like, like Colorado is very flashy, very, like it's the it team now. It kind of seems
you get all the NIL endorsements there because
exactly. So like really, and I kind of hope that people in the future, and I'm not saying this is what he's doing. I'm just saying like I hope in the future people don't chase the bag initially and actually like focus on being a good player to get it later on in life.
Right.
Because let's look at Tom Brady, for instance, freaking bum out of college. Didn't get drafted till the 7th round and greatest quarterback of all time. And if anyone disagrees with that, like come find me and we'll talk about it. Easily the greatest quarterback of all time.
And I fear that's what college football has turned into. Like a lot of people, like college football used to be a development league where that's where you go to prepare yourself to get ready for the NFL. And that's when you get your big contract. That's when you get paid. But because of all the NIL deals now, I'm not against the NIL completely because it it gives us college football, it gives us a video game back, and it keeps players from graduating early, gives them an incentive to stay where they can actually develop instead of hopping to the league early. But what it's done wrong is now it's like an NFL 2.0, and people just instead of going to a place what's best for them where they can grow personally, they just want to go wherever the NIL deal money is the largest and they can get the bag early. And then what I'm scared is going to happen is, like you said, Jay, they chase the bag initially. They don't grow like they're supposed to, and then they just waste their time going to the NFL. They're not the player they were meant to be. That's why I figured that and that's why everybody's calling for the NCAA to put a cap space on the NIL, so that way NIL can still be a thing, but it's not so unnecessarily aggressive that's not hurting the future of these college football players.
Yeah, it was kind of like when in the NBA, like people got tired of actually like trying to develop a team to become winners. That superstars would leave their team to go join other superstars, not because they didn't want to waste the time and making sure their team was the best they could be, but they wanted to get a championship. So they kind of took that fast route, and it's just like I just don't want to see that turn into college football.
Hey Chase, I don't know if it's just me. It could just be me, but try turning your mic down a little bit. It just seems a little blown. It could just be me. I'll just for your.
I think it is just you.
But anyways, I will say I think what you guys are saying about Julian Newman is probably right because I think Lincoln Riley, he's had great success with the quarterbacks. You go back to Baker Mayfield, you go back to Kyle Murray, you go back to Caleb Williams, like you guys just said. Not Caleb Williams. Well, Caleb Williams for a year, I guess. But regardless, you saw what he did with Caleb Williams at USC is what I'm saying. But I feel like maybe what his decision was to flip to Colorado is because Colorado's facing a year where once Sanders and Travis Hunter graduate this coming year, Colorado's going to have to be in the scramble to find new talent. And I believe Dion and his recruiting staff probably used the clout, so to speak, at Colorado to influence Julian Newman to come there because he's already got NIL deals waiting for him right outside of college, right outside of high school. And along with that, think about what goes on in Colorado. I mean, you got players getting, diamond and gold Rolexes. You got legit rappers going to the game and then putting on a live performance in the locker room after the game. You have so much celebrity eyes on this Colorado Buffalo team that it's easy for a high-praised quarterback like Julian Newman to look at that and be like, that could be mine if I go to Colorado. And that's just something that USC doesn't really have because, Lincoln Riley isn't the most likable guy in the world, and B, USC doesn't win anything. They never win anything. Colorado's they're the trailblazers right now. They are paving the way to success. And I think Julian Newman is looking there like if Deion Sanders is really the good coach that he says he is, and Colorado turns out to be something this year, Julian Newman's going to want to instantly hop on that train because USC is going in the decline right now. And USC's in the Big Ten, and that contends with Oregon, Washington, Indiana, Ohio State, and the Big 12 is wide open, and Julian Newman can have more success there. So maybe in terms of success and clout, that's why Julian Newman decided to flip his commitment.
Well, what's funny is Indiana was also his final three schools were Colorado, Indiana, and Georgia. And I was thinking he was going to go to Indiana because Curt Cignetti just signed, an 8-year, 10-year deal with Indiana. He got a bag, and Curt Cignetti, he's the definition of success. He's a winner wherever he goes. And as long as he's at Indiana, I see Indiana being on a constant incline. And, Indiana's got a lot of eyes and attention on themselves. I think they're a team everybody's really excited about for the future. So that's where I thought I was going because that would have been a very big development opportunity from there because Rook, the quarterback there for Indiana, I don't know if he's a junior or a senior, but if Juju would have committed to Indiana, I don't care what Rook is, Juju would have gotten the starting job. But I guess I do see his vision behind Colorado, and I would imagine that him committing Colorado would convince Deion to stay. And though Colorado's losing a lot, I expect him to go crazy in this transfer portal because you got to imagine people are dying to go to Colorado to not only play under Deion but to play with Juju.
Yeah,
hey, what's wrong with Tallahassee? What's wrong with Tallahassee, Juju?
Yeah, what's wrong with Tallahassee? Juju, what's going on, brother?
There's not enough time in this podcast to explain what's wrong with Tallahassee.
You probably
right. I think a lot of it is, I think the greatest players are going to be diamonds found in the rough. I think there's a reason why we got a kid out of Boise State now that's got every eye on him.
Yes, you're right.
And, he kind of came out of nowhere, and that's going to be the guy that we're going to see for years to come dominating the NFL because he kind of took his time, going through. I'm not calling Boise State a small school by any means, but it's just a school that most people wouldn't expect for people to come out of. But now, since he's getting to pave the way and doing that, he's going to shine. So I just hope that, him going to Colorado doesn't kill that for him. I think he's going to be a great player. He was a great player in high school, and the fact he's, kind of a hometown boy for all of us, we'll root for him just hearing the name. So I hope he plays great. And speaking to people dimes in the rough, Kansas knocking off BYU. Those guys have that opportunity because they've knocked off 2 people in a row. Who says they can't go for 3? Hopefully they're going to be bowl eligible. And then in a couple weeks when we're all picking bowl games, we're all going to pick Kansas. So who's to say? Who's to say? But Andrew, we know you got a game that you even wanted to talk about. So why don't you go ahead and get us started with that?
Oh, absolutely. And I was just going to say for BYU, this means that BYU has to win out if they even want the slightest chance. Because if BYU wins out, they'll still go to the Big 12 championship game because they have that second spot pretty sealed if they win out. So it'd be Colorado and BYU in the Big 12 championship, which would be fun. But let's talk about what happened in Wisconsin, the cheese state. That cheese. I gotta say, that cheese, it was pretty fine. It was pretty aged this past Saturday, I should say. Like some good Parmesan, you know what I mean? Because number one, Oregon, they went on the road, hostile environment. It was a 7:30 kickoff, jump around in the third quarter. Always gets everybody fouled up. But number one, Oregon only held off Wisconsin for a 16-13 win. That is a 3-point game right there off of a Spennington 24-yard field goal in the fourth quarter right after Mateo Ughelli intercepted a pass on the Badgers in that final possession to secure the win. So now it's important to note that the Badgers did take a 10-6 halftime lead on Braden Locke's touchdown pass to Will Pauling with 25 seconds left in the second quarter. But the Ducks held Wisconsin out of the end zone in the entire second half and scored 10 fourth-quarter points to take the lead. But then Wisconsin, they had 2 late chances to answer after he made a field goal and, again, after Oregon failed to fake the field goal on both possessions, which was absolutely ridiculous that Oregon would even try a fake field goal in that pivotal moment in the fourth quarter. But they converted the fake field goal, and they end up, getting that last minute touchdown to put them over the edge in those final 5 minutes. So it was a very, very gutsy game for Oregon. I mean, you're talking about a team who's been number one for pretty much the entire year. They knew that they were going to have their backs against the wall playing in such a hostile environment. And you know what? Wisconsin, they gave it to them. They made Oregon sweat. Dan Lanning had to go deep into his playbook, like I said, with the fake field goal if he wanted to survive. And that's exactly what happened. So this is what I want to talk about here. What does this close call not technically mean for Oregon? Because yes, in this past Tuesday, they did remain number one in the college football playoff rankings. And look, every great team needs to conquer adversity on the road. That is an important aspect for every great team. And Oregon did that on Saturday with their offense. Their offense was pretty stifled for much of the game. I mean, Dylan Gabriel had a very tough time moving it down the field, and they had a couple of red zone turnovers, which is another reason why Oregon had to work late to get that lead. But the Ducks needed to scrap every inch against the Badgers to pull that one out. And like I said, they were down 13-6. Oregon put together that 81-yard drive that took up 6 minutes and 24 seconds. So they milked the clock, got that last minute touchdown, then got the field goal to put them up by 3. And it's interesting because it wasn't perfect by any means for Oregon. No. And now Oregon has a chance to clinch a playoff spot in the Big Ten Championship because I believe if Oregon wins next week, they solidify their spot in the Big Ten Championship. I believe so. So I think most people are kind of questioning, like, well, Oregon, they've looked great up until that last weekend game against Wisconsin. I think that's why there wasn't really that big of an overreaction because most of the time, even if you're as good as Oregon is, you're going to have that 1 week where you barely survive. everybody has that game. And I think it just goes to show that Oregon, even with their backs against the wall, even with a handful of red zone turnovers, the fact that they're able to pull out a last-second win in that hostile environment shows me that they are well deserving of that number one spot. Because adversity is a big part of the college football game. And they're going to need a lot of adversity if they're going to want to win any playoff games. So, to me, I don't think it's as much as a scare as everyone thinks it is. Oregon has a pretty manageable schedule for the last 2 weeks of the season. So, to me, I think they win out. But I'll tell you what. I don't even know if they're going to win the Big Ten championship game. Because let's say Indiana beats Ohio State this upcoming Saturday. Indiana, if they beat Ohio State on the road against the number 2 team in the country, that's going to be enough evidence to show me that they can beat number 1 Oregon as well. But if Ohio State is as good as everyone claims them to be, and they beat Indiana and win out, Ohio State will have their rematch against Oregon, where they almost won a couple weeks ago. So Oregon's path to the Big Ten championship may be easy, but them holding on to that number 1 spot could be in jeopardy once the Big Ten championship game rolls around.
Well, Oregon at the start of the year, I would always tell everybody this. Oregon's offense scares me. And at the start of the season, we saw it become very sloppy. In fact, that game against Boise State, their offense played very lackluster, and it was two fourth-quarter special team plays, a kickoff return, a punt return, that gave them the win against Boise State. Shoot, I was watching that game against Michigan State on Friday night a couple weeks ago, and Oregon's offense started the game terrible. Dylan Gabriel had 2 red zone interceptions, and they gave Michigan State chance after chance to take advantage. Thankfully for Oregon, Michigan State's offense is awful this year, so Oregon's still not winning big. But then we saw flashes of them being really good. Dylan Gabriel is no doubt a Heisman-winning quarterback. Dan Lanning is an offensive-minded guy, and he knows how to create an explosive offense. That's something Oregon's been known as for years. And I have a lot of faith in that Oregon offense and who they have on that team. However, these red zone turnovers have been a problem for them week in and week out. And like you said, Andrew, it's the sole reason they almost lost on the road to Wisconsin. And I think you're going to get away with that against teams like Wisconsin, who was without Tyler Van Dyke, and I solely believe Wisconsin would be a much better team if Tyler Van Dyke didn't get that season-ending injury against Bama. But then again, you'll survive those mistakes against Michigan State. They survived against Boise State. But in the Big Ten Championship, if they do that against an Ohio State or an Indiana if they make it in the playoffs, if they do it against anyone in the playoffs, you're not going to get so lucky. And Dan Lanning's a smart enough coach. In fact, he created a rule that college football had to take away. He's so smart. So I expect Dan Lanning to figure out a way to get Oregon some more red zone efficiency, but it has to be quick because we're 2 weeks away from the end of the season. And it's still a reoccurring problem for Oregon.
Yeah, it's really not that big of a deal with it being that close. Most people could look at this as one of 2 ways. You can look at it as well, guys, we got a problem. We got a major gap in our offense or our defense, and we really got to hit it hard now and make sure that we're ready. Like, you can look at it that way. You can look at it and go, okay, we can't do that. Lesson learned. Like, we can't play that soft. We can't play that aggressive. We can't, pull out trick plays, start doing wildcats or triple options. Things like that is, something that you learn, you take away from each game. So, yes, it was an unranked team that almost took off the number 1 team in the country. It's happened before. We've seen it happen. But this is definitely a learning moment, and I don't think we're going to see any drop or any decline in the Oregon offense, defense, or their team as a whole. I still think they're rightful as the number 1 team in the country, and I think they're going to win out. I think they're going to get through the Big Ten. Man, if they win the Big Ten with some confidence, with some gusto, they're going to scare some people as they roll into this playoff.
Absolutely.
So I'm not taking anything away from Oregon. I think Oregon did they did what they needed to do. It doesn't matter if you win a race by an inch or a mile, you win. So
right. Well said.
And then to recap from this last Saturday, we want to talk about College Game Day, the game that all eyes were on in Athens as number 7 Tennessee traveled to Athens to play number 12 Georgia, who a lot of people are people are skeptical about both sides, Tennessee and Georgia, but mainly Georgia, and the reason why was because of Carson Beck and his turnover problem the past couple of weeks, and then Mike Bobo and his abysmal conservative play calling that's been putting a knife in Georgia's backs.
Yeah.
Georgia was coming off a tough loss against Ole Miss on the road where their offense was just extremely lackluster. We saw a gameplay where Mike Bobo was calling runs up the middles on 2nd and 12, a run to the outside on 3rd and 10. Play calls that just didn't make sense. And this is something about Georgia that I didn't realize. Georgia leads all of college football on most dropped passes. And us as Florida State fans, we've seen a lot of dropped passes, but somehow Georgia has more than we do. And
I thought our tight end alone held that by himself.
You and me too, brother. And a lot of people thought maybe that was the reason Mike Bobo was being so conservative was because he was flat out scared to throw the ball. But when you're in the SEC, not throwing the ball isn't going to get you nowhere. So, and Carson Beck's play, even when Georgia did throw the ball, Carson Beck, when he looked good, he looked good. But when he looked bad, he looked really bad. Real bad, absolutely, especially that game against Florida where he almost lost because of some horrible mistakes. And a lot of people came into that game thinking Georgia might pull a surprise and start Gunnar Henderson. Obviously, they did not do that, and if you're a Georgia fan, thank goodness you didn't do that because Carson Beck played like a Heisman quarterback. This was a Carson Beck everybody in the preseason thought he was going to be. He was the Heisman quarterback everybody speculated him to be. So Tennessee,
nobody expected him to run over that middle linebacker though. That was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Look, the best part
football. It's some scrawny white kid who looked like
Sid the Sloth
with a random hideous whole arm tattoo. If he came up to me and ran me over like a 200-pound linebacker, I would quit. I'd quit.
I'm done. Cleats on the field. Like, I'm just walking off. Like, I'm like, forget this crap. I'm going to go pick up pickleball. Like, screw this.
And it's the fact that they showed the replay like 5 times. Like,
I know. That's the worst thing in the world. If you get your ankles broken or you get trucked and you're on national TV, you better expect for them to replay that thing 5, 6, 7 times. I remember, and this is just because we're Florida State fans, is the only thing we can talk about. When Florida State played Clemson the year we won the national championship, Nick O'Leary crossed this dude and then ran for like 8 more yards. I saw that replay for like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It just kept popping up. Yeah. It was so good. So, like, yeah, look, I don't know who that other guy is, but you cannot let that happen.
Dude,
like, you just can't.
I couldn't imagine waking up in the morning. I'd be scared to open my phone because I'd be too scared to see what's coming.
I'm changing my number. I'm freaking deleting all social media. I don't want any. I'm changing my email address, MySpace, DM, whatever. I'm getting new Social Security. I'm changing my name. I'm having a new identity. I'm changing my number on the team so like people can't go, oh, there's 86 in that church. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm 22 now.
That 86 guy, what a loser! Yeah. I hate to be that guy.
Yeah, what a loser that kid is, man. Feel bad for that idiot.
I'm not even coming home for Thanksgiving, to be honest with you. I'm not even facing my family.
Ham sandwich in my dorm room.
The funniest thing was, so we were in Nashville for our buddy's bachelor's party. He had family in Nashville, so he's a big Tennessee fan, so he wanted to go out into a sports bar on Nashville, loaded with Tennessee fans to watch the game. And I remember we sitting there, I'm just being an instigator. This game means nothing to me. I'm just being an instigator. I'm laughing, watching show replay over and over again. I remember it showed for like the 5th time, and this one guy stood up from his chair and he goes, that happened like 2 drives ago. Like, why are they still showing that? And then it shows Carson Beck on the sidelines. He has this stupid smile. It looks like he just snorted some white crystals. He just has a stupid smile on his face.
He does. He's not much of a looker. He kind of looks like football players are developing to not have to wear helmets. You know what I mean? Like
that's exactly what it looks like.
That's crazy.
This is what he looks like.
Look, hey, the way he played Saturday, I bet Kirby Smart could give a crap what he looks like. But the funny thing is Nico, not even going to try to pronounce his last name. We're just going to stick with Nico. Started the game really good.
Hard last names this season. I mean, good grief.
I think he's like Polynesian. I think
I don't know. That's kind of dope, though. I would love to have like that tribal tattoo all the way. Like, I think that's sick.
Have a salt thing after me too.
And he has like a whole
after my homeland.
Oh, Polynesian.
Named after my homeland, that would be kind of dope.
Hey,
these are the things.
I'm sure there's some truth to that, but I'm not going to.
These are the things that I think about. I mean, I'm sorry.
They work at Chick-fil-A, y'all.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Thank you for sharing your mind. But I mean, hey, Nico, let's give him credit. In the first quarter, he played incredible. Tennessee had a 10-0 lead, headed to that first quarter, and then people started to stress again. They're like, well, here we go. How is Kirby Smart and Mike Bubba going to answer? But you know what they did? They got Oscar Delp involved. And Oscar Delp is a sneaky and sizable player for Georgia that they just flat out haven't used all season long. But early in the second quarter, he caught a 19-yard touchdown pass, a dime from Carson Beck. And then a couple of drives later, it was a 4-yard touchdown pass. So that's 2 touchdowns to give Georgia the lead. Dylan Sampson ended up kicking the field goal to get Tennessee up 17-14. After going up 17-14, Georgia outscored Tennessee 17-0. Tennessee didn't even touch the end zone that entire second half. Nate Frazier, Georgia was short on running backs this year with the absence of Etienne, but Nate Frazier stepped up to the play, and he had a dominant performance, giving Georgia a 31-17 lead. And now, like just a week ago, people were doubting Georgia, but after that performance against Tennessee, now you got to look at them as true college football national championship contenders once again, because this Saturday they got a very light game against UMass at home. Then they play a home game against Georgia Tech, which could be a trap game. I don't know if I'm seeing enough from Georgia Tech to beat Georgia, but you never know. But Georgia's probably not going to make the SEC.
Other than FSU, who did Georgia Tech knock off? Oh, Miami.
Miami. Yeah, that was their.
You said other than Florida State. I don't think that Florida State win means as much as it did.
I don't call that I wouldn't call that a knockoff. I'd call that a get the heck out of my way, kid.
Well, I'm looking at this Charleston Southern game like people are like, oh yes, Florida State, they've got Charleston. I'm looking at it like we might upset Charleston Southern this weekend.
Yeah. Hey, big upset alert. Wait, guys, wait till next week. We are either going to be in all Florida State stuff or we're going to be just like in all black, like we're at a funeral, just in mourning.
If we lose this game to Charleston Southern, I don't even know what I'm going to do. It's going to be the worst Thanksgiving week of my life. I'm not going to have anything.
The best part about this is we are 33.5-point favorites. We haven't scored more than 21 all season long, but they have us as 33.5-point favorites. I think that's a stretch.
That is anarchy.
I personally think
it makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Like, that is like putting a WNBA team against the Lakers and going, they're a 60-point favorite. They haven't scored 60 points the whole season. Like, it doesn't make sense. So why would you – oh, my God. Why would you have a 33-point favorite for someone who hasn't scored 21 points the entire season?
I think it's a stretch. I personally think it's a stretch.
I'm telling you right now, I don't condone
I don't
betting.
think it's a stretch. It is a stretch.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't condone betting, but if you are, out there looking to make some money, take the under.
Take the under.
Take the under. Buddy, I promise you can sleep happy knowing you have the under.
Take that to Vegas. Take the under. It is a guarantee. Who says it? Oh, Charles Barkley. I guarantee you're going to hit on that one.
Do not take the over on that.
Yeah, you're an idiot. If you're in Vegas right now and you're like, I'm going to take Florida State on the over, you're an idiot.
Yeah, whoever made that betting line they're setting people up for failure.
Oh, 100%.
If this was week zero college football, I would tell you absolutely take the over. Like 33.5, absolutely. We're gonna beat them 70-30. But now, we might not even win the game. I'm that confident in telling you to take the under.
You want to talk about
that's a trap game.
That's a trap.
That's a trap game for us.
It's a trap
God,
game,
dude.
100%.
Oh man.
I don't even know what I would think if we lost. Like, I legit, I can't ponder it. Like, that's just like.
I guess this is a good time for me to explain this jersey right here because I know a lot of y'all people are gonna take this the wrong way. It says Ooga Loogaboo. Okay, this was a jersey that I ordered like back late July, and it came in like 3 weeks ago. I completely forgot that I even ordered it. But basically, the story behind it, for those who know, is before Florida State got DJU in the transfer portal, because I thought for sure we were getting Cam Ward. Like, I was dead set on that. So I told my buddy that I didn't even know how to pronounce DJ's name. I always called him Ooga Loogaboo, just as a joke. So I told my buddy that I was so confident that we were getting Cam Ward that if we get DJU, I will get a jersey that says Ooga Loogaboo. Well, spoiler alert, we didn't get Cam Ward. We got stuck with Ooga Loogaboo.
We got DJ.
And that explains the jersey. But yeah, I forgot that I even ordered this. So it was kind of funny. But,
That's hilarious.
Hey, Andrew, if he redshirts and come back next year, you can wear it all next season.
Oh, my gosh. I saw that. I was like, please, Lord, let that be a joke.
Nope.
Like,
don't even speak into it.
Could you – I would question everything about Mike Norvell if he decides to bring that guy back.
Honestly, for me, he's kind of on thin ice. Like,
he is.
Like, he's on very thin ice.
Yeah, I love Coach. Like, he's great, but good Lord, dude. Like,
I'll give him the
this is
benefit of the doubt
unfathomable
this year. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt this year, but if things do not improve rapidly next year, you might have to consider buying out that contract, as crazy as that sounds, because he is the 5th highest paid coach in college football right now. So that is going to be a big paycheck. But it's either
it's going to be like a whole –
or win games.
It's going to be a Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M situation.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's – I mean, literally, we're going to go from – if we win against Charleston Southern, we're going to go 2-9, 2-10, something like that. Literally, the only way that I see Mike Norvell staying in Tallahassee is if he goes like 9-3.
It's going to have to be a drastic turnaround.
I mean, yeah.
At least 8-4.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Only time will tell.
We'll see. I can almost guarantee you this game will not get mentioned even one time during College Game Day. So we'll just kind of keep track of it, and we'll let you know when that comes around. Although College Game Day last week, you had the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, with a really good pick. I actually like as I grew up a wrestling fan, it was actually really cool to see like him in there. And it's kind of cool, like how good the WWE's gotten in the last couple of years. I don't watch it anymore, but it's gotten huge.
I heard it's gotten good.
They've had everybody on game, like Sheamus to start the season, and then now you got Cody.
It's cool, man.
I was impressed. Yeah,
I watch all the pay-per-views because I think that's just like all the cool stuff, and like everything else in the middle is just kind of filler. And I don't even really watch the pay-per-views. I just kind of wait. It's kind of like watching NASCAR. Like you don't really need to watch to the last like 10 laps.
Yeah,
that's really all that matters,
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So it's kind of like that. Like I don't watch like every single week. I used to hardcore. That was my thing.
You did, yeah.
I used to.
I remember that.
We know.
Super hardcore. I was a big fan.
You used to have the wrestling belts, and you'd use us as like your punch bags.
Sure did. I had a great
childhood. You know what? I just came up with a great.
We used to have this like.
For this Florida State and Charleston Southern game. Do you know what I think a great analogy for this game is? The Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Because, for face value, Florida State compared to Charleston Southern is like Mike Tyson compared to Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, because, it's Mike Tyson. There's no way Jake Paul's winning. And then you go out there and you're like, okay, this ain't Mike Tyson anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like that could be a great representation of what this Florida State and Charleston
Did y'all watch that fight?
We did.
Unfortunately.
It was sad.
Dude, it was bad.
Just sad. Like
I felt bad for Mike Tyson.
I did too. Like he was like his stamina is so not there because he's almost 60. And it's
he can't do it anymore.
Dana White had a great comment on this and he worked out perfectly. He said he talked to Mike Tyson beforehand. And Mike Tyson was like, what are you talking about? He goes, there's no way this kid's going to knock me out because that's what Dana White was worried about. He's almost 60 years old. He's like, I don't want this kid to go in there and knock you out, like kill you. And he's like, he's not going to knock me out. He's like, this kid's terrible. He's like, I'm going to go out there and I'll dance around with him for a little bit. And if I knock him down, great. He goes, but if it goes to the end of the round, I mean, my age is going to catch up with me. And he was 100% right. Jake Paul didn't do crap to Mike Tyson.
He was easy.
He just waited him out, which is like such a weak sauce way to win that, because like I think everyone knows like there's no way. If this was, and here's the most bizarre thing ever, Jake Paul said even prime Mike Tyson, he would have won that fight.
Yay!
I heard
would
that.
have gotten legitimately killed. We would have seen a murder in a boxing ring. He would have died. And honestly, this is a horrible segue, but honestly, like, I need Jake Paul to fight somebody with some actual boxing ability and beat the brakes off this dude. You wanna know who I honestly think I hope it is?
Conor McGregor.
Money Mayweather.
Oh,
Money Mayweather.
Dude, because he's old, but he's gonna come in there and he's just gonna beat the crap out of you, and he's not gonna knock you out, but you're gonna lose. And then put in some heavy hitter and just let him beat the snot out of Jake Paul.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, that day is going to be so good.
Hey, the proof is in the pudding because Mike Tyson won the first 2 rounds, and then he got tired, and that's when Jake Paul just controlled the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Because he got tired. But when Mike Tyson wasn't tired, I'm just saying.
I have zero respect for Jake Paul and his picking of fights.
I don't have any respect for him.
I saw a picture. I'm going to pull this picture up because I need all the viewing world to see this because it made me laugh.
Is it a picture of Mike Tyson's bare cheeks that they gone? Wait, let's see. Lee Corso.
Lee Corso.
Hey, you know what? That's
I saw that one. This was the other one. It's Jimmy Carter.
Oh my god!
He's 100 years old. Jimmy Carter's 100 years old. I saw that. I was like, that's 100% true.
It's so true.
It's like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
It's so
this is why we're called the triple option talk. You know, you don't know which direction this podcast is going to go in, but hey,
I started about college football, and I don't even know what happened.
I could have sworn just a minute ago we were talking about Georgia and Tennessee.
We were, and that literally. Okay, let's just revert back to that. Hey, Georgia, great win. You look like crap for a little while, but you figured it out. Tennessee, you look like crap at the end, but you didn't look like that in the beginning. If you can put that together for 4 quarters, you may have a football team.
I do want to say, though, before we get into game picks, because it is about that time, I do want to say something about the Ohio State-Indiana game because I'm just going to throw out some numbers for you guys because there's a lot of people are kind of having a hard time figuring out how this game is going to go because Indiana, though they've been steamrolling all their opponents, they haven't really had any real – they have one of the weakest strength of schedules in college football. So this is really their time to go out there and prove how Indiana plays football. So these are some little numbers to back you up. If you're having a hard time figuring out who's going to win this game, here's some numbers to back it up. Now, this game is going to be the nation's number 1 scoring defense against the nation's number 2 scoring offense. Ohio State has allowed 10.3 points per game this season, which is the best mark in the nation. On the flip side of the coin, Indiana is scoring 43.9 points per game, which trails only Miami's 45 points per game. And what's crazier than that is that Ohio State's allowing only 7.3 points per game at home. Now, while you may believe Indiana's offense isn't as good away from home, the numbers disagree. Indiana is averaging 43.9 points per game on the road. So it's a team whose offense travels. Now, another thing to note. This is Ohio State's 3rd game against a top 5 team this year. It's the most times it's happened in a single season for the Buckeyes ever, who has seen mixed results in its first 2 contests. The first game was Ohio State's 32-31 loss at number 3 Oregon, and the second was the Buckeyes' 2013 win over number 3 Penn State. This one will serve as a rubber match for Ohio State's top 5 matchups. Now, another thing I want to say, Indiana has the best points per game margin in the entire country. So we've mentioned that Indiana scores more than nearly everybody, but they aren't just a one-dimensional team. The defense has been just as impressive, which is why the Hoosiers have a points per game margin of plus 30.1 this year. Now, Ohio State, to their credit, they're not far behind that. They're ranked third at a plus 27.5 points per game. So these are two teams who win a lot and don't play a lot of close games. But I will say, I'm trying to look for the line right now because I'm actually interested to see how much Ohio State is favored in this game. Everybody knows that.
10.5.
10.5, yeah.
Okay,
I got it all
so
pulled
I
up
basically. Okay, thank you for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my pick for this game day right quick, and I'm just gonna say right now, if Ohio State wins this game, it's gonna be because of what everybody's afraid of. That Indiana is only good against subpar teams, but can't win the big matchups on the road. If Indiana wins this game, it's gonna be because their offense is just as dominant as everybody as everybody sees that they are, based on their last couple of results, and their defense is able to go toe to toe with any of the best offensive weapons in the game. Do I think it's going to happen, though? Now, listen, Indiana, if they want to make the playoffs, they're either going to have to win out or lose this game by like 3. Because if they lose on like a walk-off field goal and then win out, I think they'll still get a playoff bid because they went toe-to-toe with Ohio State. And look, I don't think Indiana's going to win this game. I'm picking Ohio State, but I think Indiana will cover. I think if Ohio State wins, it's going to be by 10 or less. So give me the Buckeyes in a very close game. Ohio. All right. Fair enough.
I really, really, really want to say Indiana. Like, they've been such a fun team to watch. I love Kurt Sinetti. A lot of people think he's arrogant. I think he's just confident, and he's putting it on the field. I love that they extended his contract. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. I think Ohio State's defense is going to be a little too much for Indiana, especially on the road. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think 10.5 is a great line. I think Ohio State wins by 10. Give me Ohio. I think we know who Jake
I think
is.
this is going to be the worst college game day of the year. I think this is not
Really?
I think Ohio State is going to beat the brakes off of Indiana.
I hope not.
No, it'll be Bucks. Bucks by 10 or less. Bucks by 10 or less.
I say Bucks by 21.
21?
21.
I think there's a lot of belief in this Indiana team, and the power of friendship is going to keep them in this game.
Yeah. No, but in all serious note, I think Ohio is going to win this game. Indiana has had a great season, but yeah, I think the only thing that kind of hurts them in this fact is the fact they haven't played anybody. And not only are you playing somebody now, you're playing the number 2, possibly in some people's eyes, the best team in the country.
I still think they have the best defense in the nation.
I 100% agree. And you're playing them at the shoe.
In front of 100,000 plus Buckeyes fans.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
And you know, it's one thing I hate about college football, and it drives me crazy, and I want people to fix this. This is a noon kickoff.
Because a Big Ten kickoff, and I can't stand it.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. So
the only reason I like Big Ten kickoff is because Gus Johnson calls the games, but I hate that it's at noon. Who wants to watch this at noon?
Nobody.
Yeah.
I'll be at work.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate it. I hate it. But, oh well. All right,
Love
y'all
Gus
guys ready to
Johnson,
get some game picks, though?
Yeah, we're going to try and fly through these a little quicker than we normally do because we can sit here and jabber about them for a while. So you have 30 seconds or less to make your pick and explanation. Once your 30 seconds are up, you're done.
I say 30 seconds for all of us, though. I think we can
30 seconds for all of us. I agree. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm locked in.
All right. We got Wake Forest, a 4-6 Wake Forest playing at Miami, a number 8 Miami. This one kind of comes with very little explanation. Cam Ward is on a tear. He's still at the top of the Heisman Award. Give me Miami in a big one against Wake.
Miami has to win now if they want to make the playoffs, so give me Miami. They're in win now mode.
They're getting that rebound against Georgia Tech. Give me the U.
Give me the U. All right, moving on. You have a 12 o'clock kickoff on ABC. You have a number 9 Ole Miss coming off of a very big win, playing a 5-5 Florida. I think Florida being 5-5 in that fact is pretty impressive considering all the schedule and the strength schedule they had to deal with. I don't think they're going to be a good enough team to beat Ole Miss, whether the Florida's quarterback's 100% or not. So give me Jackson Dart and give me Ole Miss.
That win against LSU was enough for the Florida group to stick with Billy Napier for at least a couple more years. We'll see how he fares against high-powered offense. I think Ole Miss gets the edge, but it'll be close.
The Rebels' offense is so overpowered right now. Brian Kelly, you suck. Go cry on the sidelines. Go yell at your players. But they're not going to be upset this time. Give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, big one. Love watching Brian Kelly lose. All right, we have a 13th ranked 9-1 SMU playing University of Virginia, another 5-5 in the ACC. Give me the Stangs in a good win. This is going to be a great win for them. So I like what SMU is doing. I like the direction they're headed, and there's a possibility they can make the playoffs. Give me the SMU.
I think SMU wins out and beats Miami in the ACC championship. I think they win the conference in their first year. Give me SMU.
I'm not going to say that confidently. I think they'll definitely beat Miami in the ACC championship, but Miami's offense is the best in the nation. But we'll have to see. We'll see how that fares out, but SMU is going to roll this week.
All right. 12 o'clock on Peacock. If you have Peacock, you're going to be able to watch this game. You have a 25th ranked Illinois playing at Rutgers. You know what, man? Give me Rutgers in an upset win on a top 25 team.
Both teams have kind of fallen off towards the midway mark of the season, but I like your pick, Jay. I think Rutgers gets an upset win here.
You know what? A lot of people don't realize, but we wouldn't have college football without Rutgers. And sometimes the Scarlet Knights can be a tough place to play. Give me the Scarlet Knights, man.
Throwing it back to the OG.
All right, at 12:45 on the SEC Network, you have the biggest game of the week. Massachusetts playing at Georgia.
Georgia.
You want to talk about a crazy last name? Look up UMass's quarterback's last name. But since we have a simple name to pronounce, I like Carson Beck and the Georgia Bulldogs to beat the absolute tar out of UMass.
Are you talking about Tayson from Makahanaka?
You may have been close.
Yeah, that's a crazy name. That's a crazy name.
How can I goodbye to that?
Yeah.
Give me Georgia. The line is 42, but Georgia wins by 59.
There we go.
All right. Dang. All right. Moving on, we have a 1 o'clock kickoff on SEC Network and ESPN Plus. If you have both of those, you have a team with, I think, the coolest stadium in college football. You have UTEP playing at Tennessee, and give me the Vols on a huge bounce back win.
Yeah, say what you want about Tennessee. This game's not going to be close. Give me Tennessee.
40.5 is the line. Tennessee covers. Tennessee's going to win big. It's going to be a big rebound.
Yep. UTEP Miners, you still have a very dope stadium, so hang on to that for dear life. All right, Kentucky Wildcats, an unranked Kentucky Wildcats 4-6, playing the number 3 team in the country, a 9-1 Texas. This one, I think we're going to see a lot of Manning in this game because I don't think they're going to use Quinn Ewers very much, especially in the second half. So give me Texas.
Texas, they have a big game against A&M, and next week that could be a big SEC championship decider. But they got to get Kentucky first. They're not going to let Kentucky slip them. Give me the Horns.
Woohoo! All right. Do a quick pick. We have the number 4 team in the country, Penn State. You playing at Minnesota. Minnesota. Give me the Nittany Lions in a big win.
You know what? Believe it or not, I love PJ Fleck. I love what he's done with this Minnesota group. I think Penn State's going to punt them back. I think Penn State's going to I think Minnesota is going to shut up all the Penn State fans that believe this fraudulent team is built for a playoff run because they're not. Give me Minnesota to knock off number 4 Penn State.
Minnesota is one of the hottest teams in college football. They already pulled out the upset against USC, and they have not looked back since. I love what PJ Fleck's doing to Minnesota. Minnesota is notorious for upsetting Penn State. Give me the Golden Gophers with a big upset.
Nice.
I love it, Chase. I love it, Chase.
All right, moving on to a 3:30 kickoff. We have BYU at Arizona State. BYU, you're needing a big bounce back win after losing, but guess what? It's not happening this week. You're losing 2 in a row. Give me Arizona State in a big upset win.
Scadabito, however you say his name, is one of my favorite running backs in all of college football. I love this Sun Devil team. BYU's on the decline. Give me Arizona State. Forks up, baby.
I think that loss to Kansas knocked a lot out of BYU. Arizona State's a tough environment. Jordan Tyson is a dog at receiver. Give me the Sun Devils against the Super Soakers.
I like it.
All right. We have a 3:30 kickoff on Fox. You have the 16th ranked Colorado trying to make a playoff run against a team that has knocked off 2 people in back-to-back weeks, Kansas. Will Kansas make it 3? No, they will not. Colorado's got too much steam trying to roll into the playoffs. Give me Colorado.
I'm bought in on
Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes.
Kansas' magical run ends. Give me the Colorado Buffaloes.
Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes are all locked in on the CFP playoffs. They got to get past Kansas on the road. It's going to be a close game, but Colorado pulls it off.
All right, 3:30 on the CW network. Oh, good Lord.
Wow.
Citadel and Clemson. We're going to say this all in unison. 3, 2, 1. Clemson.
Clemson.
All right, moving on.
That's crazy.
Go Tigers.
CW network.
That's actually hilarious.
Andy Griffith right after that when you're done. That's crazy.
And then some MASH in between.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah, it's literally the programming is MASH, Citadel and Clemson, Andy Griffith. That's wild.
What a Saturday.
That's horrible.
What a time to be alive.
Jeez.
All right, you have Wofford? You have a 5-6 Wofford playing at South Carolina, 18-ranked South Carolina. Give me the Gamecocks in a big win.
Give me the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Wofford's good in basketball, but this ain't basketball. Give me the Cocks. Well, I mean, Gamecocks.
I don't know.
In game. All right, you have a 23rd ranked Missouri that has seemed to be falling down a pretty big hill as of late at 4:15 on the SEC Network, playing a lackluster 2-8 Mississippi State, 0-6 in their conference. Missouri, you're finally going to be able to stop rolling down that hill for a little bit. You're going to get a win this week.
Mississippi State sucks. Give me Mizzou big.
Whoa.
That's one way to say it.
Oh, I thought Jake chose Mississippi State. I'm sorry. Missouri. I thought Jake chose Mississippi State for a minute.
No.
I'm sorry. That's why I was like shocked. I was like, what? But no, I got you. Yeah, give me Tigers. Go Tigers.
Cool. We have I actually kind of like this game. I probably will watch this one. You have a 19th ranked 9-0 Army playing a number 6 9-1 Notre Dame. Army did one of the craziest things I've ever seen in all of college football, where they took up the entire quarter to score 1 touchdown. Did you see that?
Yes.
I saw that.
19 minutes, I think it was, or something stupid like that.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, that's insane. This one's going to be pretty tight, but I think, unfortunately, Notre Dame is going to still pick up a win with Riley Leonard because they got a big push that they got to kind of keep their head on straight and not lose one here, and they're not going to lose one to a 19th ranked Army. So give me Notre Dame.
I believe in this Notre Dame team, and Army's done some exciting things. This game's going to be played in Yankee Stadium, but that's about the only exciting thing that's going to happen. I think Notre Dame wins pretty convincingly.
You know what? Notre Dame is known for hitting a brick wall when it gets to this point of the year, and I think Army is a sneaky good team with a confusing offense. And I think they're going to catch Notre Dame off guard. Give me my Army representing USA with a huge upset.
That would be massive. That would be awesome.
That'd be huge.
All right, you have a number 12 Boise State playing an unranked Wyoming. I think Ashton Jeanty can hold this down for himself. So in that, give me the Heisman winner. Give me the Boise State.
For the go Broncos.
Josh Allen's not Wyoming anymore. Michael Myers is going to claim another victim. Give me Boise State.
100%. All right, you have a 7th-ranked Alabama going into Oklahoma in a 5-5 Oklahoma. Alabama is favored in this. I think Oklahoma is going to make this a lot closer of a game than we all predict. The line is not that much. I want to say the line is only that's 13 for
13
Alabama.
and a half.
I think it's going to be less than that. But I think Alabama is going to barely, hear me when I say this, barely come out with a win.
I like what you said, Jay. Oklahoma on the road, it could be a testy match for Bama, but I think Oklahoma's still not ready for these big SEC opponents. Give me Bama, but I think it will be close. I agree.
Venables has one of the most Venables has conducted one of the worst offenses in the SEC. Bama's trying to make their statement known to be a true contender in college football. I think Bama steamrolls Oklahoma. I don't think this is going to be close.
That's
all right. Moving on to 7:30 ESPN. You have a 15th-ranked Texas A&M playing at Auburn. Texas A&M, if you're listening, you need to focus on listening to what I'm saying. You are making a big run for the playoffs, and I think you can absolutely do it. But you have to just take this game as a tune-up because next week you have to play Texas, and you have to win that game. Yep. So run through Auburn, get as prepared as you possibly can, and all encouragement or whatever else you need, gusto to get you through Texas. But this week you're going through Auburn. Give me Texas A&M in a deciding win.
You said all, Jake. Give me A&M.
Jake, perfect. Well said. Give me A&M. No go Tigers this time.
No go Tigers. All right. Last pick of the night is going to be a 7:30 kickoff on Fox. You have a Iowa State playing at Utah.
Yes.
I want to pick an upset, so I'm going to pick an upset. Give me Utah to beat Iowa State.
Now, Iowa State, I mean, they start off the year undefeated for a while. They suffered 2 back-to-back really tough losses. Cam Rising, I hear, is coming back for Utah this week. I think it's going to be an ugly game of football. That's what I heard. It's going to be an ugly game of football. I think both offenses are going to struggle, but I do think Iowa State will win this game.
All right.
If that's true, Jake, I'm joining you. I love Cam Rising. Give me Utah.
Let's go. All right, we went through all of our picks. We are 1 week out from rivalry week. We are 2 weeks out from figuring out who is going to be in the thick of it in this playoff and all the mess and all the chaos is going to concur. We're about to jump into a very fun part of this season. But we've gotten our picks, and we'll see what happens Saturday on College Game Day at noon, whether Indiana's going to be able to hang on to their 5-10-0 spot or Ohio State is going to be 10-1. Moving in, still being the number 2 team in the country. We got a lot of things that can shake up, a lot of stuff in this playoff bracket, so we're not going to know anything until we see on Saturday. So Have a good Saturday, everybody. Enjoy your time with friends, family, watching college football. Hope your team wins. I hope Florida State beats Charleston Southern. If not, you may never see us again.
This may be the last episode.
This may be the last episode. But we'll see what happens. But we love you guys. Appreciate you watching. We will be back next week talking about the chaos that ensued this week. So peace out. A-Town. Love y'all. Have a good night.